So listen, we don't talk a lot about comic book movies here on this channel, but there is so much to go over after the last couple of days of filming for Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I did cover Spider-Man No Way Home. We cover all things Spider-Man basically here on this channel. We gotta talk about this movie, all right? I'm talking like villains, plural, that are being reported to appear in this film. I'm talking about the confirmation of a hero that is going to appear in this film, as well as plot details, a full look at the new suit, tons of stuff that they've been filming that we got set photos and videos from, and so much more that we're gonna go over in this video. Before we do so, if you're hyped for Spider-Man Brand New Day, if you can't wait to see this movie, hit that thumbs up button. Let's get into this. Okay, so the first thing that I want to go over, we got tons of set photos and videos. The full suit has been seen now. It looks magnificent. This is one of my favorite live action Spider-Man suits that we have ever got. I don't know yet if it dethrones the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit or any of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suits, but once we get to see it on the big screen with the visual effects and everything and have it all ready to go in front of us, then I'll have my opinions about where it ranks amongst those other two suits I just mentioned. But I will say it's easily up there as one of the best Spider-Man suits we've gotten in a movie. It looks so damn good. The colors are amazing. It doesn't have the exact same shiny blue that we got from the Spider-Man No Way Home suit, and it doesn't particularly have raised webbing like we thought it was going to when we saw that initial teaser video, but it still looks so good. Just some minor tweaks from that final swing suit in No Way Home, and I really love what they did with the design. The mask looks great, and the lenses look so good, and a lot of people have compared some of those set photos to like Alex Ross art of Spider-Man. And yeah, it really does feel like an Alex Ross Spider-Man painting come to life. And a lot of these set videos have shown Spider-Man on this tank. And originally there were set photos of this tank with a logo on it that looked to be belonging to the Inner Demons. We might have had Mr. Negative as one of the main villains in this movie. However, according to @Alex from CC, who is an insider that has reported correct things in the past, he mentioned on Twitter that he mysteriously disappeared from, by the way, that Mr. Negative and the Inner Demons are not going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's a real bummer if that ends up being true. We don't know for sure. There's a lot that's happening with this movie, I imagine, behind the scenes, and who knows what information is being fed to these insiders and whether or not it's correct or whether or not it's even the newest information. But from what Alex has heard, there is not going to be any Mr. Negative. There's not going to be any Inner Demons in this film, which is kind of a bummer, and it also kind of throws everything up in the air in terms of, well, how are they going to fight Hulk and why? Because the running theory for a while when we all thought Mr. Negative was going to be the main villain of this movie is that it would be Mr. Negative that turns Hulk into the Savage Hulk, which then forces Punisher and Spider-Man to go toe-to-toe with the big green guy. But if there is no Mr. Negative, if there is no Inner Demons, well then what ends up being the catalyst? What causes Hulk to go Savage mode? I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But then also, Daniel RPK has reported, and a lot of insiders have reported, that that tank that Spider-Man is on top of in a lot of the set photos and videos apparently belongs to the Punisher. But more than that, apparently Punisher in this movie is going to have some advanced tech. He's going to have some advanced weaponry to allow him to go toe-to-toe with people like Spider-Man and the Hulk. That led people to immediately speculate that maybe they're going to give him that War Machine armor that has like the Punisher skull on it and the skull and the mask and everything like that. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. I wouldn't have been totally against it, but it doesn't look like that's the direction they're going in. He's just going to have some sort of advanced tech in the movie that'll allow him to fight Spider-Man and Hulk. And one of them, it seems, is going to be that tank. We're going to maybe see a similar dynamic between Punisher and Spider-Man that we did when Punisher was first introduced in Daredevil Season 2. Him just killing villains left and right, and Daredevil being like, hey, listen, that's just not the way. That's not how we should do things. It might be a similar situation here. Punisher is hunting down some of Spider-Man's villains, trying to kill them. Spider-Man gets involved and say, hey, we need to be better. And then John Bernthal's probably going to be like, oh, let me tell you something, Red. Something like that. Who knows? Now, Daniel RPK has also reported about some other villains that are going to be in this movie. He's mentioned that we're going to, in Spider-Man Brand New Day, see the likes of Tombstone, Tarantula, Boomerang, Scorpion, and Ramrod, who's half cyborg. Yeah, we're pulling some of the more obscure villains out for this movie, which is interesting. But we did know for a little while now, or at least it had been rumored for a while now, that Scorpion was going to appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and it would be Michael Mando reprising the role. Michael Mando actually ended up posting on Instagram recently a photo of himself with the makeup, having that Scorpion tattoo on his neck, and he captioned it with Sting, so he might already be on set filming some stuff for the film, or at least getting prepared prepared to do so. I would definitely be interested in Tombstone being a main villain. Tombstone is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains from the comic books, and it honestly sounds like, in general, from what we're hearing here, based on all of these villains that are going to appear, based on the fact that we're going to have Punisher in there, maybe the Hulk, it looks like this is going to be that street-level Spider-Man movie that we have all been hoping for. It's not going to be this big multiversal event. And, you know, you're hearing things like Punisher and John Bernthal's Punisher appearing. We know that he was originally introduced in Daredevil, and he had a lot to do with Kingpin, Wilson Fisk. Could we see Kingpin show up in the movie? Well, Daniel RPK is reporting that that's not going to be the case as of right now. I believe there are some weird rights issues as well with the character of Kingpin specifically appearing on film. And then there was also a lot of reports from Kevin Feige mentioning that he is not trying to do a whole lot of crossing over of the TV stuff with the film stuff. He said it was really enticing to have a character as rich as the Punisher appear in Spider-Man, but I imagine they don't want to do a whole lot of cross-pollination with what they're doing with something like Daredevil Born Again into something like Spider-Man Brand New Day. So maybe we'll get hints at the fact that there is, you know, Wilson Fisk as the mayor, and maybe we'll get hints at, you know, his whole mandate against vigilantes. But I don't know how far they're going to go to address any of the events of Daredevil Born Again. And side note, it would have been so good to have Daredevil in this movie, man, especially considering that we have Punisher. Tons of other information, though, out there from Daniel RPK, who, again, is a reliable insider. You know, he has gotten a pretty good track record here. He is saying that Brand New Day will have a darker tone. It's going to be something similar to that of Kraven's Last Hunt, the comic book. I don't think he's specifically saying that Kraven is going to be the main villain in this movie or anything like that, but I do think he's talking about just the tone of that book in comparison to the tone of Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is amazing to hear. That's the direction I feel like a lot of us are wanting this film to go in after the events of No Way Home. You know, he's by himself, he's alone, he's living in that apartment. He's just, you know, he's Spider-Man full time, basically. It's a weird thing with Spider-Man fans where we cheer the most and are most excited for Spider-Man projects where we get to see Peter Parker at his lowest, at his most depressed. Hell yes, please give me Spider-Man that's alone and hates his life. That's what I'm looking for. It was also mentioned as well that Punisher is his usual murderous psychopath self, but will have weaponry to deal with threats like Spider-Man and the Hulk, like I had mentioned earlier. Scorpion will have a prominent role, but not the main villain of the movie, so you can cross that name off the list. And then it was also mentioned that Zendaya is going to be in this movie. We are going to have MJ in Spider-Man Brand New Day. It won't be a lot of screen time, but the character will have a significant role. I imagine it's going to be something to do with maybe closer to the end of the movie with Spider-Man trying to rekindle his relationship with MJ. It was also reported by the Hollywood Reporter, actually, that, you know, we are going to have Mark Ruffalo's Hulk appearing in this film. Obviously, we're going to have John Bernthal's Punisher as well in this film. They had essentially insinuated that while they don't have the full plot details and everything about that is under wraps, what they can bet is that we're going to see these heroes fight each other. However, they will come together to take down a bigger threat. I feel like that's just a safe assumption. I don't even know if they're reporting any inside information there, but when you get films like a Civil War or Batman v Superman, that's how it usually goes. The heroes duke it out, they clash, they have the ideologies that they, you know, go toe-to-toe against each other about, but then eventually there is a greater threat, a villain that's maybe orchestrating things or pulling the strings behind the scenes, and the heroes realize that that's what's going on, and that they realize that that threat is something they need to work together to take down. Maybe it's a Tombstone, or who knows, maybe Mr. Negative is in this movie and Alex, who we had talked about earlier in the video, had gotten some false information. One last thing that I did want to talk about that I thought was really cool, they filmed some practical stunts, some web swinging practically on the set of Spider-Man Brand New Day. There was this massive stunt they were filming with Spider-Man on like a crane swinging through the streets of what they are going to create as New York, and there was just these big explosions, tons of set photos that are out there of Spider-Man, just pure aura farming. It's so cool looking. Don't get me wrong, the best web swinging scenes we've ever seen, and probably the best web swinging scenes we'll see in this movie, will be CGI, but it is cool that they're filming something practically, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to turn out when we get to see it on the big screen. And that's just about everything that we know so far, at least all the major bits of information that we have about this film coming from reliable sources that have good track record. I'm going to try and continue to cover this film as best as I can and give you guys updates about Spider-Man Brand New Day, so subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications if you're looking forward to this movie. And with that being said, I now want to kick it to you guys. Sound off with your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about Spider-Man Brand New Day? Are you excited for this film? And out of all the villains that are apparently, rumored to show up, which one are you most excited to see? Sound off with all your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been Caboose. I'll see you guys later.